Hello and willkommen, welcome to AidanEyewitness. From 1997 onwards I produced my Eyewitness in Manchester website, and I've taken a very large number of photographs and more recently video clips documenting the changing city. For this video I've selected a few of my archive images going back 20 years, plus some from Wikipedia, documenting the astonishing transformation of the central City West Greengate district across the River Irwell in Salford, where one demolished industrial building seems to have made a strange comeback. The murky waters of the River Irwell seen from the footbridge next to Victoria Bridge. Let's take a look from the air. Manchester is to the left, Salford to the right. Can you see the white line running down the middle of the river? Of course not, it's an invisible boundary, but very significant. Let's pan around the scene. We can see the former Ramada Renaissance Hotel and No. 1 Deansgate, the back of Harvey Nichols, the Britannic Buildings, Manchester Cathedral, an old bridge, an open area with two strange metal towers, some new office buildings and their companion to the left, and we look up at Highland House, also new? No, it was built in 1962, and we're back to Victoria Bridge. So what are those two large buildings? They are Embankment 100 and 101, designed by architects Flanagan Lawrence. They're located in Salford. They were approved by Salford City Council. This is an old bridge and it has cobblestones, or more correctly, setts. So what was here before? This bridge led to Exchange Station, one of the four mainline stations Manchester once had. It opened in 1884. The Cromwell statue was moved to Wythenshawe Park. Today the more benign figure of Mahatma Gandhi stands next to the cathedral. Victoria Street was a busy road full of buses, vans and cars. After completion of the Inner Relief Road, the council turned it into a traffic-free area. Let's walk into Salford to that brick podium with the embankment buildings on top of it. They're shaped to follow the outline of the 19th century base, or viaduct. To me, the effect is like the Canary Wharf HSBC Tower on top of Edinburgh Castle. The buildings won the Reba Northwest Award in 2018. What was on this site before? It was Exchange Station, from where as a child I once departed on a steam train. Here's an eastbound freight train, a BR 460 Standard Class 5, built in 1957. Back on the Manchester side, this is Cheetham School. The school had a 19th century building here, the Palatine Building. For me, reminiscent of facades in Helsinki. It was demolished to reveal Cheetham's medieval buildings, but I wish they'd kept it. Here we're looking along the river, separating the cities of Manchester and Salford. Salford has always maintained a distinct identity. The pink signs bear the irritating uppercase in Salford. Back on the Manchester side, here's a very photogenic view of the Cathedral and Britannic buildings. There's a demolition site next to the river. What was here before? It's captured in my photo taken in 2003. This is the former Ramada Renaissance Hotel and Premier House site. Premier House is currently under demolition. Victoria Bridge was constructed in 1839. That's one of the Queen's orbs resting on Grecian scrolls, and that's my Brompton. We'll walk down from the Manchester side to the Salford side. This area was once a bus station for Salford Corporation buses. That's a 1965 Leyland Atlantean in the green Salford Corporation livery. The twin embankment buildings sit on top of the podium or viaduct, built to support Exchange Station. There's a crest on the stone, but I can't find any information about it. Can anyone help? This is Greengate, an old Salford street dating back to medieval times. Up till recently it was covered by the station, but this part of the bridge was removed when the new buildings were constructed. Further along Greengate, the line from Victoria Station crosses over, so we can still enjoy that walking under the gloomy viaduct experience, so reminiscent of the old Manchester. This is the gateway to the new Greengate district, once a dirty and derelict area of old factory buildings and workshops, many disused. Today it has been completely transformed. That's Cortlandt Tower on the left. Let's delve into my photo archive again and look down from the top of the CIS building. The Exchange Station site was used as a car park for many years. In the lower right we can see the footbridge that was once inside the station. One building in the old Greengate caught my imagination and I photographed it a few times. It bore the name Greengate and Irwell 1950, so it was one of the first buildings constructed after World War II. It would have made a nice conversion, maybe a Brooklyn-style loft or state-of-the-art offices. It was demolished to make way for the new development. This massive tower is called Cortlandt. It's part of the Collier's Yard development. 1, 2 and 3 bedroomed apartments and penthouses, says the sign. The visualization shows a green area with children playing, people walking their dogs, and modern apartment buildings all around. City life, local living, a new and vibrant neighbourhood surrounded by a high-quality public realm and green space. Doorstep convenience. All this just a 10-minute walk or 3-minute cycle ride from Deansgate via the route we've just taken. The signs continue, creating a community, amenities, leisure and co-working. Bankside Boulevard, a tree-lined boulevard with a mix of independent retail and leisure operators. We're looking along the new avenue next to Abito towards Collier Street Baths, which are currently being renovated. These new towers are far higher than Abito, reflecting the steady rise in property values. Here's the former post office next to the River Irwell, and an earlier photograph. Looks like it was taken in 1906. Actually, it was taken by me in foggy weather during 1996. Next to Greengate is the inner relief route. I call it the inner congestion route. It's carried across the River Irwell by Wellington Bridge, built in 1987. And this is the then abandoned tower I caught back in July 2021 in my video. The project stalled when Liverpool-based developer Elliott went bust. A new company has taken over and work is proceeding. On the other corner of the bridge is the Salford nameplate. In the mid-80s, when I lived in Salford, few could have imagined that futuristic towers like these would arise next to the Irwell. Not quite the banks of the River Seine in Paris yet, but getting there. This is the City of Manchester sign, with the M famously designed by Peter Saville, co-founder of the Hacienda. Speaking of which, it's a shame they didn't incorporate the original facade into a new building as they've done here. It's just fascinating how these new buildings seem to have just sprouted up out of the ground in just a few years, though the history of this place goes back many decades and centuries. If postboxes could talk, what stories could this one tell? On old maps, we can see that this spot was close to the historic centre of the medieval settlement of Salford, which by the way means ford by the willow trees. So let's look at visualisations of the interior of the new building under construction next door to Collier's Yard. It's been renamed Embankment Exchange, a name which combines the old and new names of the nearby railway station site. I hope people don't get confused. Prices from £229,950, with contemporary style luxury, it says. Here's a dusk visualisation from Trinity Way, so let's go back to see how it looks at the moment. Now let's look at Collier's Yard. There's going to be a new park and a new avenue, and at the end is Collier Street Baths, which have stood empty for decades. They are being carefully restored and fully incorporated into the new residential district. Old streets, new paths, says the sign. The postcode is M3, and the next tower is called Bankside. Construction is only just beginning. The developer is Renica, a name seen all over Manchester and Salford. The Eagle Inn, next to Collier Street Baths, has remained open during the construction, and here are the remains of another old building, which I featured previously. Architects Denton Corker Marshall have played a key role here. The signs say, Industrial Soul, Modern Vision, built on history, an area steeped in industrial heritage. Here's the neighbouring Uptown development back in 2021, and this is how it looks now. The Eagle Inn is dwarfed by the new buildings, but it will continue as a welcome watering hole for local residents, a pub with traditional character and now a bright future. Just a little further on and we can see the industrial character of this area is still visible. But what's that red brick building? And I wonder what the view will be like from the top of those buildings. I'd love to see it. Yes, that red brick construction at the base of the tower. What does it remind me of? Yes, it reminds me of the Greengate and Irwell 1950 building. Did the architects deliberately try to recreate it? I'd like to think they did. So we're back at our starting point, looking along the River Irwell, at the heart of a new Manchester and Salford taking shape all around. What will tomorrow bring? Keep watching Aidan Eyewitness. I hope you found this video interesting and informative. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, post a comment and share with others. Many thanks for watching, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und auf Wiedersehen in Manchester und in Salford.